The safest mode of transportation is just now getting a huge upgrade. Yes, it's turning all electric, just like a few of our modern-day cars. 27th September 2022 was a big day for Eviation because the company's electric aircraft took off for the first time, which means your future flights could be done with zero emissions and with a lot less noise. The problems with electric vehicles and electric planes cannot be on the same page. Electric cars have charging stations and they don't need the highest energy density batteries available. With electric airplanes, the story is totally different. So keep watching till the end to know more about the technology behind Eviation's all-electric Alice airplane. The electric ambition space is heating up, and for the right reasons, as companies are finally moving past the concept stage and getting into real testing. This means that you can expect continued growth and diversity in the coming years as the industry is already embracing a greener and quieter future. We are already familiar with electric vehicles, and the next logical step for us would be to think about electrifying every means of transport, and airplanes would be the very first candidate for most people. When it comes to the contribution of greenhouse gas emissions, the aviation industry goes under the radar. But the truth is, this industry significantly contributes to greenhouse emissions. In the United States alone, commercial flights produce about 805 million metric tons of carbon dioxide per year, which is about 2% of all U.S. emissions and 3.5% of global aviation emissions. The environmental fallout of air travel is a pressing issue because there is little that can be done to control the emissions from aircraft engines, and the demand for flying is only increasing moving forward. Today, we have several startups exploring how electric planes could clean up air travel, which already accounts for 3% of worldwide greenhouse gas emission. But the problem is that today's electric aircraft could safely carry you and about a dozen of passengers only for about 30 miles. These manufacturers will need to find a way to store maximum energy in an extremely small space. If you are somebody who traveled folding your legs into cramped window seats or having been charged extra for overweight luggage, you are probably familiar with the intense space and weight constraints on airplanes. Today's batteries, according to experts, don't have the energy density that's necessary to power anything but the smaller planes, and even for those trips, will be as far as a long bike ride. But against all odds, we have Eviation, a company that was successful in getting an all-electric airplane off the ground with their new all-electric Alice airplane. It is powered by a pair of Magnix engines and a hefty battery system from AVL. The company has already acquired funding of $74 million from NASA to develop more of these engines, or motors in this case. It performed a perfect first flight for about 9 minutes in the skies above Moses Lake. Alice currently is in its prototype stage for what will eventually be a passenger plane with the ability to carry 2,500 pounds in total, which is about 9 people and their luggage. Eviation claims that the electric aircraft has a max speed of 260 knots. There are several problems with electric aircraft because they deal with different kinds of issues than what we have with electric vehicles, and it has primarily to do with their size. Heavier and larger electric motors mean that they cannot replace fossil fuel models, as weight and speed are extremely crucial components for the aviation industry when it comes to efficiency. Additionally, there is the practicality side of things that you need to consider, because you cannot simply have a battery-powered plane without also leaving space for people or cargo. According to the company's CEO, Gregory Davis, the average cost per hour to fly a business-class jet is about $3,000, but an electric plane could reduce that cost by 90%. An electric aircraft is also 92 to 95% more efficient than any fossil fuel-powered airplanes. The company stated their batteries have high energy density to work perfectly with Alice. Alice is provided with a 900 kilowatt-hours battery pack, which makes about 65% of the aircraft weight. The electric motors produce about 3 times 260 kilowatt of power in total. For the test flight, Alice took off from an airport in central Washington, then ascended to 3,500 feet and landed back again with a flight time of about 8 minutes. This is significant because this flight might change the future of air travel, and it is just a beginning. Eviation CEO and President Gregory Davis told media outlets, "Today's first flight provided Eviation with invaluable data to further optimize the aircraft for commercial production. We will review the flight data to understand how the performance of the aircraft matched our models." This means that the company requires more time to design and do the necessary certifications for the plane, as they are getting ready for performing tests with production prototypes of the aircraft by 2025. The primary mission of the company is the activation of several new points of travel, like regional airports primarily used by cargo companies and private plane owners. Affordable and clean flights between smaller hubs could simplify commutes and cargo, considering the fact that it's an all-electric airplane. Gas-powered planes have always been loud, and the logistics, fueling, pickup, and other infrastructure do not always work out properly, even though this is the best option we have today. Smaller and quieter planes delivering packages to more local delivery hubs might make a lot of sense if the costs are low, and that's where electric planes come into the picture. Maybe you could just land and get straight into an automated taxi, so you are sure about getting getting to your final destination. For now, the company needs more time to figure out several things before making these airplanes commercially available for companies and individuals. The good news is more than 100 airplanes have already been reserved. Cape Air and Global Crossing Airlines already ordered 75 and 50 aircrafts respectively, and both are regional airlines that could use Alice electric aircraft to cover the majority of their flights. This is a huge investment considering the fact that fuel and maintenance costs can be saved. DHL Express also ordered a dozen airplanes, so you know things are getting serious here. This is very significant for CEO of Aviation, Gregory Davis. He said, "We saw history in the making. It was the first time a fully integrated, clean sheet, all-electric aircraft of this scale has flown, the world's first all-electric commuter aircraft. For the company, this is the culmination of so many years of hard work and persistence, and the first flight could not have gone better. Alice certainly impressed all of us with her test flight. The test pilot said it was wonderful, and the airplane had handled exactly as expected. So what's next for this revolutionary startup? Well, getting an all-electric commuter plane off the ground is in itself a huge achievement for the company, and it's just a beginning. This test flight provided a lot more important information for the company to improve their airplanes moving forward. The company is already going to spend the next several weeks reviewing the data from the tests and understanding what needs to be done with the next prototype. The final iteration of the Alice might not be what you see today, as the team is working on redesigning, tailoring the configuration, and building an airplane that its customers and partners want. Davis said, "We need to take this aircraft, learn from it, and make the changes that are necessary so that we can produce it and bring it to the marketplace in a format that suits our customers and, of course, the passengers and cargo they're going to fly on it." Davis and his team will be working hard to bring to market an electric airplane that not only ticks all the boxes when it comes to sustainability, but also something that is commercially suitable for its customers. The first prototype was just one among the 3 prototypes that will be constructed before the manufacturer go for certification flights. Davis said, "We're planning on building 3 certification test aircraft. The first of those aircraft will be another prototype. The second and third of those aircraft are intended to be conforming, which means that they will eventually get an airworthiness certificate. That process is going to take a few years. The certification test program alone, we anticipate, will take anywhere from 18 to 24 months with those 3 aircraft, yet the amount of certification flying done that we need to do. There's still a long way for the company to go to finalize the design, build a finished aircraft, and also to get the certification tests done. The practicality of this airplane will all depend on the battery technology." The company states that with the current battery technology, Alice will be able to fly. But to make it a viable commuter plane capable of what customers need, Eviation needs to step up their game with battery technology. The company is anticipating entry into the service by 2027, and Davis was very confident that the battery technologies will be so advanced by that time, even though that is something we need to wait and watch. Ultimately, Alice is here to make a statement by proving to us that electric planes are indeed possible by allowing the cost per passenger to be lower than what we have today. This opens up several opportunities for people to choose smaller planes instead of having to share the airplane with people who might not be headed to the same ultimate destination.